What do you make of those comments?
Well, Senator Obama said that we should be speaking Spanish in a recent speech, and I think it was outrageous. It insulted me. When my parents came to this country, they had to learn how to speak English, and there was no tolerance of them, and there was no special favors for them. No immigrant group, no Irish, no Italians, no Russians have ever been afforded their language first and English second. And the idea that Hispanics are, what does that mean? Are we too stupid to learn English? I really don't believe that's true. We wouldn't have risen to the levels we have in even government here in this country if we weren't able to get a command of the language and get an education. So I find it insulting that now I have to press 1 for English in my country. I assure you, if I go to France or Italy, I don't have to press 1 to hear their language spoken.
What do you think about speaking both, an emphasis on both?
I believe anybody has a right to speak whatever language they want. Let them speak English. It's the language of commerce. It's the language of aviation. There's nothing to be embarrassed about that it's the language of our nation. And then if you want to learn Spanish, fine. What if my children want to learn French or Japanese because they want to enter the business world, or Chinese? They should be entitled to learn whatever second language they want.
Woodstock, Georgia, your next phone call.
Hi, how are you? I tried to get on when the head of La Raza was on the other day. Americans, you should read and do diligence on this subject, and you'd be shocked at the misquotes this woman makes from La Raza. Would you go into the cost that these people are costing us? There's an article in the Atlanta Constitution Journal by Jay Samuelson that it's just unbelievable. From 1994 to 2006, they represent a 55% increase in the uninsured. And we're paying for this. And people have to get out and read books about this and get interested in it, because if you don't, you're going to wake up one morning and you're going to be shocked. Thank you.
He's absolutely right. People should be doing their homework on these things and on organizations like La Raza. I understand why someone like her makes appearances on television shows and immediately pulls out the big hammer. It's racism and people don't like us and they're causing all this discontent. Well, I've looked up the statistics, and there is no large portion of Hispanics being targeted in America any more than there are any other groups. You know, obviously there are bigots and haters out there, and there are some people who, you know, string up a gay person or drag a black man behind a truck. But there's not systemic racism, and there's no systemic prejudice against Hispanics in this country.
Do you think that, how big of an issue do you think that immigration reform will play in this upcoming November election?
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to play a big part at all. I think the more that the public clamors about it, the more you see the candidates shift a little more towards our viewpoints and make concessions. Certainly President Bush in the beginning wasn't interested and was very pro as much immigration as possible and courting Hispanic votes for the party. Now you see a lot of raids on the part of ICE. He has become much more sensitive, I think, the administration, to the people. People in this country want reform, but they don't want the kind of reform that La Raza wants. We don't want people coming into this country who are not committed to becoming American citizens.
St. Louis, Missouri. Good morning.
Hi. On immigration, I disagree with her views as far as what she stated about Obama. He's made it specific that he is a supporter of bilingual and that you can learn more than one language. And I think that is not a negative for anyone that lives among different people. But as far as, I think it all boils down to judgment. And McCain was given the honor to serve in our country's war. These illegal immigrants don't serve in wars. There's a lot of things that they come here and don't contribute to. They do have health issues. McCain wrecked 4 jets and ended up being captured, refusing to return home when offered. If given the same choices or chances with 52 states, we'll end up with 52 wrecked states in wars we refuse to resolve.
Joyce Kaufman, any thoughts?
Well, I think that Senator Obama's statement that we should be bilingual is very interesting, because no other country asks its citizens to learn a second language. Now, in Europe, a lot of people speak multiple languages because the borders are contiguous, and they go from country to country on the train, and they appreciate the fine language, the fine wine, the fine food, and they do that kind of traveling. Here in the continental United States, you can travel from California to Florida, and you should be able to speak in the same language. We are one nation, despite the fact that we're the largest nation, Western culture nation, around. I assure you that people should learn as many languages as possible. I speak 3 languages fluently, and I'm not at all embarrassed about that, but I don't believe that anyone has a right to tell my children that they need to speak a second language to reside in the United States of America. And my kids are professionals. My son is an attorney. My daughter's a physician. And they shouldn't have to learn a second language.
Pensacola, Florida, your last phone call. Pensacola, are you there? Pensacola, Florida, last call. I think we lost that phone call. Sorry about that. Let's talk about your story a little bit. How did you become a radio talk show host?
Let's see. Well, my mother told me when I was young, if I could find someone to pay me to talk, then we'd be all right. And I was able to do that. It was a different journey than most people. I didn't start out with a broadcasting background. I have degrees in special education and education, but I was always interested in entertainment. I sang and danced as a young person, and I thought, well, how do you put the two things together? And talk radio, of course, was a very natural environment for me. So I appeared as a guest on a number of shows. I actually had a business that had a radio advertising campaign, and I dared the program director to put me on. And he did, and the rest is history. Within a year, I was in Morning Drive, and I've been on the air in South Florida for 17 years without missing a beat.
And when is your show now? It's in the afternoons?
It's in the afternoon from 2 p.m. till 5, weekdays, and it's streaming online, so anybody in the country who wants to hear it, it's pretty exciting. I'm very calm here on C-SPAN, but I'm nothing like this on the radio.
And the website is 850wftl.com.
That's correct.
All right, Joyce Kaufman, the host of The Joyce Kaufman Show, WFTL Radio Miami. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Greta.